Welcome back to Doc Cinema Recaps, where horror is for life, not just for October. Today we're going to be taking a look at Victor Crowley, the fourth and final installment in the Hatchet franchise. Join us next week where we're going to have a long recap covering this entire series, and there we're going to be announcing what we're going to be covering next. A decade after the events of the first three films, survivor of the Honey Island Swamp Massacre Andrew Young is told by his publicist Kathleen that he has been offered a special interview for a true crime TV series, but that the producers have insisted that the interview take place at the Honey Island Swamp. Andrew initially refuses to go due to his trauma from his experience with Victor Crowley, but is convinced when Kathleen tells him they have offered him up to 600 grand, which he then had increased up to $1 million. Andrew and Kathleen head out on a private charter plane, where Andrew learns that his interview will be hosted by his ex-wife Sabrina and her crew, audio technician Austin, videographer and girlfriend Casey, makeup artist Jay, and production assistant Zach. Suddenly, one of the plane's engines explodes during the flight. Jay and Zach are killed as the plane starts plummeting to the ground. Meanwhile, at the swamp, Chloe, her ex-boyfriend Alex, and her best friend Rose are preparing to film a trailer for a movie they are creating based on the Crowley massacre, alongside the eccentric swamp tour guide and local actor Dylan. For the sake of research, Rose begins to search YouTube for videos of people attempting to recite the voodoo curse that originally brought Crowley back to life. Rose and Dylan overhear the plane crashing and so go off to investigate, while Alex stays behind to calm Chloe down. At the plane wreckage, Dylan and Rose find that everyone aside Jay, Zach and the pilots have managed to survive the crash, but that Casey is trapped under the seats and water slowly rising around her due to the plane being partially submerged in the swamp. Meanwhile, Rose's phone autoplays a video of Reverend Zombie reciting the voodoo curse, resurrecting Crowley, who kills Alex. Chloe flees and nearly makes it to the plane wreckage, but is severely wounded by Crowley, who leaves her out in the open as bait. With the survivors having witnessed the attack, Kathleen begins to suffer from a panic attack and flees the plane. Austin attempts to stop her, but he and Kathleen are both killed by Crowley, who then finishes Chloe off and attacks the plane, making it sink further and causing Casey to drown. As Dylan locks himself in the pilot's cabin, hoping to radio for help, Andrew, Sabrina and Rose all flee in separate directions, with Crowley attempts to saw his way into the wreckage. Crowley kills Sabrina and then corners Rose, Dylan and Andrew, who have gotten the plane engine working. Crowley gets stuck in the engine, but before he can free himself, Dylan sacrifices himself by tackling Crowley into the engine, ultimately shredding them both. The next day, Mary Beth Dunstan watches a news report about the plane crash, which reports on the discovery of several dead bodies seemingly unrelated to the plane crash. Realizing Crowley has returned, she brandishes a shotgun saying, "I've been waiting for you, motherfucker." And that is the Hatchet franchise done and covered. I did some research because we're leaving it on a cliffhanger like that, see if we were going to have a Hatchet 5 anytime soon, and there's been rumours in the works for a few years now that Hatchet 5 and 6 are happening, and that they're going to take Victor Crowley out of the swamp. Maybe Jason Goes Manhattan, I don't know, but nothing ever seemed to materialise, and the trail went cold. There was actually a significant amount of talk about it during 2019-2020, and then bloody disgusting with the last article I could find about it, which was in 2022, and nothing else seems to have materialised since then. So will we get another Victor Crowley film? I don't know, man, I don't know. And whilst the last two films weren't great, I still think this franchise it's just special and unique, and I do love it, and it's great, man. It's just great. But join us next week where we are going to have a long recap of the entire franchise. We're going to be announcing what we're going to be covering next, and trust me, there is a lot of good stuff to come. So if Hatchet 5 and 6 do ever materialise, I will fit it in the schedule somewhere as and when it comes to Blu-ray, and we can get them done. But I hope so, man. I do hope so, because like I said, whilst Hatchet 3 and 4 weren't the best, they were still better than a lot of the shit that comes out today.